I would love if we have time to share one more story with you.
Oh, absolutely.
So, as I mentioned, I've sat with some of the richest people in the world at their dining room tables, not in their lecture halls. I've gotten to know their children. I've gotten to speak with their parents. And I've also known the poorest of the poor. But one of the people that influenced me probably more than anyone else, obviously my daughter's there, my wife is there, which I have stories to tell you of those people as well. I already told you my daughter was a homeless man on the streets of San Diego. I was walking downtown one day and I was just drawn to go up to this man who was sitting where the pavement meets the wall. His back was against the wall, his butt was on the pavement. And I just walked up to him and I saw his hat there and I put $1 in his hat. And I stood there and I was just standing there with him and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you gave me my $1. I thank you for it. But what are you doing? What are you standing here for?" I said, "There's something about you that intrigues me. I just want to spend some time with you." He said, "Thank you very much, but I can't do that. I have to make money. And if I'm talking to you, I won't make any money. And I need to make money because I need to take care of other homeless people here because they don't do as well as I do. And I have my brothers and sisters I have to take care of." And I said, "I completely understand. How much money will you make in the next half an hour?" He said, "I make $5 a half an hour, $10 an hour." I said, 17 hours a day. So I make about $170 a day, which goes to help me take care of my family and my people here. And I looked into my wallet and I saw I had a $50 bill. And I said, "I'd like to give this to you." And he said, "What are you giving me $50 for?" I said, "Just because I want you not to worry about the time we're spending together." And he said, "Dude, you're crazy. You can sit down with me if you want." "Okay, that's fine." And I sat down with him. And I said, "Keep your hat out because even as we're talking, I bet people will give us money. And they'll give you money. I don't want any of your money." And it took him about 20 minutes to open up to me. And finally, when he opened up, I said to him, "Cory, you sit on the street corner, you watch thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people pass by you. If you could gather them all in a stadium or an auditorium, and you could have a moment to speak to them, what would you say?" He didn't miss a moment. He said, "I would tell them to do what you're doing, to take 10 minutes out of the course of their life and just sit with someone they don't know and ask them how they're doing." And I said, "Cory, that's so beautiful, but why? Why of all the things you could ask, why that? Like, that's a beautiful thing to do." And he said, "Let me tell you a story, Danny. You've told me a few stories." I said, "I would welcome that so much." He said, "I hate being homeless. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm embarrassed by my position. I can't believe that I have no place to go to get away from all of this. I feel like a failure. I feel like a scorn on society. There are very few things that make me feel worse than I feel about myself than the feeling I have about myself. Except people who come by and treat me not like a human being, not even like an animal, but like a thing. People come and they kick me and they beat me and they punch me and they spit on me and they yell obscenities to me. I was sleeping here one day and a man started urinating on me and I woke up and I said, "What the heck? People steal my money." And so I decided at one point enough was enough. I hated my life. People hated me. The street right behind this is a dark street. Nobody walks on that street. And so I decided that night I was going to go to the dark street where nobody walks, and I was going to take my life. 2 minutes after I had that thought, a man in a three-piece suit came up and put his hand on my shoulder. And he said, "Brother, how are you doing?" And I did the same thing to him that I did to you. I said, "You don't want to know. Keep walking, sir. You're really not interested. You could give a damn. You don't really care. Just keep walking. Do your important things. I'm not important to you. Just keep walking." And the man sat down next to me and he said, "There's no way that's going to happen, my friend. I want to know how you're doing, just like just like you did, Danny. And he said, I don't know why. Maybe it was because he had a three-piece suit on. Maybe it was because I thought he was important. Maybe because I was disheveled and dirty, and my clothes were torn and ripped, and my box was ripped and torn. But I started crying into his shoulder. Crocodile tears, big tears that I haven't cried in years. And he just put his arm around me. He said, it's okay. There are lots of tears in you. Let them come. Tell me why you're crying. He said, Danny, it only took about 10 minutes for me to empty myself, for me to tell him the important things that I needed to tell him. And I never saw him again. I wished he would have come by. I wish he would know that on those 10 minutes, he saved my life. That I was going to kill myself that day. But because of him, I couldn't kill myself, because a man, an important man in a three-piece suit, came up to me and cared enough about me to take 10 minutes out of the course of his life and ask me how I was doing. He said, that's what I would tell people to do. That story moved me so much. There's something called the butterfly effect, where a butterfly flaps his wings in one place and a wind blows to give energy to a city. Cory's story touched me so much. I made a vow that day that as much as I could, as many times as possible, I was going to share Cory's story wherever I went, whether it was in boardrooms or podcasts or TV shows or lectures or speeches or talks or gatherings. I was going to try and share Cory's story as often as I could. And so I want to share it with your audience. And I want to ask the people in your audience to take 10 minutes out of the course of their life. What's 10 minutes out of the course of your lifetime? To go up to someone you don't know and just ask them how they're doing. Don't try and fix them. Don't try and help them. Don't try and feed them. Don't try and do anything for them. Just love them and listen to them. Because you have no idea whose life you might save in those moments. There are now millions of people that are doing the 10-minute pledge, that are going up to people that they don't know and saying, how are you? And are listening. And there's a revolution that we're starting called the revolution of listening. It doesn't cost anything to be a part of it. It doesn't, there's no membership fee. There's no place that you have to attend. All you have to do is do that one action. Who knows? It might be contagious. You might want to do it with your spouse. You might want to practice it with the people that work for you. You might want to ask your boss or the owner of your company, how are you doing? You might want to do it to your children. You might want to go to a hospital and ask somebody how they are. Who knows how contagious this 10 minutes could be? So I thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you.
Yeah, man, thank you for sharing Cory's story. That is unbelievable. I absolutely am honored that you would share that. And yeah, just the power that is humanity, of just sitting and talking to somebody, seeing how they're doing.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. So before I let you go, I'm going to ask you the same thing that Cory asked, or that you asked Cory, because I actually end all my episodes with that, of if you had the ear of everybody in the world, what would you say to them?
I would say love for no reason. I speak to a lot of people. And there was a woman that I was speaking to about a month ago. And she shared with me vulnerably her heart. I had never met her before. And I said to her, I want you to know how much I love you. I really, really love you. And she responded back to me saying, you're so full of crap. You don't even know me. How can you love me? And I said, that's a good question. I said, but if we can hate for no reason, surely we can love for no reason. I don't need a reason to love you. My wife taught me that. I met my wife at a moment in time where I had lost $300,000 because my manufacturer I had had a clothing line at that period of time, and my manufacturer was supposed to send to me clothing that he had made that we were going to ship 3 days later to fulfill over $1.5 million of orders for that season. And he called me up and said, Danny, I don't know how to tell you this, but I haven't made one stitch of clothing. I have nothing to give you for your delivery of your orders. And I said, how could you have done that to me? He said, it was too much. I couldn't do it. My heart went into palpitations. Immediately, I started receiving calls from my debtors saying, when are you going to pay us? You owe us money. I'd never owed that much money. I never owed any money before in my life.
Yeah.
I had no money. My body was acting up in rebellion to me. And here comes into my life at 21, a woman 21 years my junior, gorgeous woman from Argentina, and said, I love you. And I just looked at her. I remember to this day, I looked at her and I said, why? Why would you love me? I have nothing. I'm at the bottom of my barrel. My health is done. I'm 21 years older than you. I have no money. Why would you love me? And she said, you're the first person that asked me ever why I love you. Love them. I love you because I love you. I don't need a reason to love you. In that moment, I felt so invincible that I made a vow to myself that I would try and share that feeling of invincibility with others by loving them for no reason. And so when this little girl said to me, you're crazy, you're just full of it. And I was able to say to her, people hate for no reason. Why can't we love for no reason? She got it. So I would invite people to love for no reason, to listen and hear the people that are around you, and to accept people as they are. We don't need to fix or change or help or do anything. Be like the pieces of a mosaic and just hug each other for no reason.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I love that. Love for no reason, because you can't, I mean, everybody hates for no reason.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Danny, I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate your just beautiful look at life, and sharing that with me and with my listeners. And yeah, man, I can't thank you enough. And I've loved connecting with you. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, I love you, brother, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. It's my honor. Take care, brother.
All right. See you. Bye.
Ciao.